Most people, they think that their life changes when something big happens, like a new job, a move, a relationship, a crisis, a lucky break. But the truth is far less dramatic and far more dangerous. Your path usually changes the moment you repeatedly choose something different from what you have already chosen. And once you understand how direction works, you stop waiting for motivation, permission, that perfect timing, or some magical sign that you are finally ready. You start moving, and the first thing you need to understand is that your current life is not simply the result of your dreams. It's the result of your repeated decisions, your habits, your environment, your relationships, your spending, your attention, and the problems you tolerate all push you in a direction. Every day you're either reinforcing your current path or creating a new one. And real change usually feels boring at first, okay? It really does. It looks like going to bed early, learning a new skill when nobody's watching, saving money instead of spending it, walking away from an environment that keeps you stuck, or finally admitting that the plan you have been following is not working. And these actions do not feel like a new life, but they create one. And think of your life like a vehicle. If you're driving down a road and turn the steering wheel only a few degrees, you may barely notice the difference immediately. But after enough miles, you can end up in a completely different city. And this is how small decisions work. A tiny change repeated long enough becomes a completely different destination. And this is why one of the most important questions you can ask yourself is not what do I want to do right now? It is where is this decision taking me? And that question changes everything. The cheap purchase may feel good right now, but where does it take you financially? And the extra hour of, scrolling may feel harmless, but where does it take your attention? And stay in the same situation may feel comfortable, but where does it take your future to? I mean, a path is created by direction, not intention. You can intend to become healthier while repeatedly choosing habits that make you weaker. You can intend to become financially secure while repeatedly spending every dollar. You can intend to build a better life while protecting the exact routine that are destroying your ability to build one. Intentions, they matter, but behavior is the steering wheel. And the second thing that it changes your path is accepting that nobody's coming to make the decision for you. At some point you have to decide what you are willing to continue tolerating. And this is where many people get trapped. They keep waiting for them circumstances to become perfect. They wait until, they have more money, more time, more confidence, more energy, and more support. But perfection is often just fear wearing professional clothing. You do not need perfect conditions to change the direction. You need a next step that is clear enough to take. Research the skill, make the phone call, apply for the opportunity, create the damn plan. Remove one destructive habit. Spend 1 hour learning instead of consuming. Them small actions create evidence, and evidence, it creates that confidence. Confidence makes larger actions possible, and most people, they try to reverse that order. They wait to feel confident before taking action, but confidence is usually the result of proving to yourself that you can act while uncomfortable. Your path also changes when you change your environment. Willpower is useful, but relying on willpower for everything is a terrible strategy. If your surrounding constantly push you forward towards the behavior you are trying to escape, you are fighting the battle every single day. Your environment includes the people you spend time with, the information you consume, the physical space around you, and the routines built into your day. Sometimes growth feels lonely because the old version of you in your life that was built around things you are no longer willing to accept. And that is not always a sign that you are making a mistake. Sometimes it's evidence that you are changing. And another major shift happens when you stop confusing motion with progress. Being busy does not automatically mean you are moving forward. You can spend an entire day working and still avoid the one task that would actually change your situation. You can plan endlessly because planning feels safer than execution. Progress requires a connection between effort and outcome. Ask yourself something. What action, if repeated consistently, would make my life measurably better? Then protect that action. It might be saving money, building a business, improving your health, learning a trade, repairing a relationship, or creating something every day. The boring answer is often the powerful answer because most people they abandon it before the results become visible. You also need to understand the cost of staying the same. People often ask, "What if I fail?" But they rarely ask, "What will happen if I never try?" Every path has a price. Change has the price of discomfort. Uncertainty, temporary sacrifice, and staying the same has the price of lost time, missed opportunities, and eventually regret. And the question is not whether you will pay a price. The question is which price you are willing to pay. The most important shift may be realizing that your identity can change through action. You do not have to wait until you feel like a disciplined person to become disciplined. You become disciplined by keeping promises to yourself. You do not have to feel like a creator before you create. You become a creator by creating. You do not have to feel brave before you act. Courage is often what remains after you act while afraid. Identity follows repeated behavior, and this is why the next version of your life may begin with a decision that feels almost insignificant, and you decide to stop negotiating with the habits that keep hurting you. You decide to take one opportunity seriously. You decide to learn instead of complain. You decide to post your past and can explain you without controlling you. You, let me start off at the top on that one. You decide that your past can explain you without controlling you. And then you repeat that decision tomorrow. The path changes because you change your direction, and direction changes because you change what you repeatedly do. A path is built one step at a time, and sometimes the first step is simply refusing to keep walking in the wrong direction. So look honestly at the life your current choices are creating, not the life you hope that you create, not the life you tell people you want, and the life they actually producing. And then ask yourself one question. If I continue exactly like this, where will I be 1 year from now? If the answer scares you, that fear may be useful. Let it become information. And then make one decision that points somewhere else, not 10 decisions, not a perfect master plan. One real decision, followed by another, because your path is not changed by what you wish for once. It's changed by what you choose repeatedly until your destination has no choice but to change. Thanks for watching today. If you found value in today's video, please subscribe. Have a nice day. It's been a day for me, as you can tell.